y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Eboni Harris and I'm a relationship therapist based in Houston, Texas. Today I am doing another video where I'm trying to get my life together at home, but also sharing some relationship tips that oftentimes, especially people of color, we don't always have good examples of healthy relationships. Talking about a lot of us do, which is very awesome. But even if your parents stayed together, sometimes you see what they went through and you're like, I don't think I want that. I don't think that's for me. So I just wanted to kind of quickly go through a few tips of like, hey, if these things are happening, they may be signs to get more help. And I also want to talk about some healthy things to look for in relationships, because I think we spend a lot of time focusing on like, okay, this is wrong, so that's a problem. But we also want to be able to acknowledge that there are positive things that happen in relationships. So I am going to sit here, as I said in one of my other videos, one of my goals is, maybe not every video, but a few videos a month to start like doing things that I just need to get done, because I just find it more visually interesting when folding clothes probably isn't the most interesting thing, but I just think it might be more fun than me just staring at a camera telling you these 5 tips. We are going to start with the 5 ways to know if your relationship is unhealthy. And I'm going to start with like number 1, like the biggest one. I wasn't even going to add it on the list, but I didn't want to diminish the importance of knowing that these things are just not okay, and recognizing that sometimes people are in relationships and they just aren't fully sure, or they might feel like, well, this other stuff is going well, so just because this stuff is happening, it may not be a good reason to like maybe my relationship is still okay. So I wanted to just respect the fact that everybody isn't maybe on the same page as far as understanding what's okay, what's not okay in relationships. And so we're going to just start with the big stuff and get it out the way. So first off, when we talk about the big stuff, I'm referring to abuse. I'm referring to consistent infidelity. I'm referring to extreme secrets, such as gambling or huge financial secrets, drug use, things like that. So these are topics that I assess for when I'm working with clients. And oftentimes I tell them, if this is going on, then I cannot continue couples therapy. So when it comes to infidelity, right, there's a line, right? Obviously people come to me because there's infidelity in their relationship. That is part of a big reason why people do couples therapy. And so that means that, yes, we talk about infidelity, and sometimes those affairs haven't ended yet, right? And so that's something that we will deal with in therapy. But if there is an affair that's happening that one person doesn't know about, then it's really difficult to focus on the relationship if someone is still stepping out of a relationship where they have agreed to be monogamous. I need to put clarity there, right? People have relationships where they have open relationships, but that is not infidelity. Infidelity is, we have agreed to these terms of our relationship and now you're stepping outside of those terms. So it's just really important to understand that these things make it difficult to continue couples therapy, or to even start working on a relationship. So while I do think this is a sign of an unhealthy relationship, more than that, I think it's a sign that this may not be a relationship that you need to be in. If there is this abuse, and this is any type of abuse, yes, we often talk about physical abuse because that's the easiest to identify, but even emotional abuse, right? Even if someone makes you feel like crap, or they try to make you seem like you're crazy by gaslighting you and doing something and then completely telling you are crazy because it didn't really happen. Or if they use things that you say against you in public or anything like that, or private, whatever, these are signs that you probably just shouldn't even be in a relationship. So, because the reason why I'm making this distinction is because in relationships, you can have unhealthy habits, you can have unhealthy interactions, you can have unhealthy parts of your relationship. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to like end the relationship. I'm going to say with this situation, you probably need to end the relationship. So I just wanted to kind of do that. And then also, if you are not ready to end the relationship, that is okay as well. But I would say to start focusing on yourself. Like, get some help as far as just your own mental health, your own struggles within the relationship, because maybe there is something that could be worked on as far as like you doing your individual therapy. And so, like I said, I won't continue couples therapy if these things are happening, but I will work with them individually to try to get them to a better space to, one, understand why their behavior is harmful or why it's harmful for them to stay in a relationship where this stuff is happening, and also for them to understand maybe the source behind their behaviors. Because I am not a judgmental person, and I have worked with all kind of people, and I truly believe that, I truly believe that most people in the world, there are exceptions, but I believe most people in the world are good people. And there will be a lot of people that disagree with me, but that's just my belief. And so even if you are an abuser, even if you are a cheater, any of those things, that does not take away my belief that you are a good person. And so what we have to work on is, why is this cheating happening? Why is this abuse happening? What is it about? So so if there any of those big things, abuse, consistent infidelity, continuing to go back and forth, the person cheats on you forever, if there is huge secrets, drug use, gambling, financial stuff where you find out that like mortgages aren't getting paid, or there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card bills that you didn't know about, things like that, that is unhealthy. And that is a time to seek help, if not to leave the relationship, if there's not a clear plan to fix and make it better. One more thing I want to add to that, when I talk about the extreme behaviors, I want to address codependency. Again, not really going into a full conversation about it because that could be a whole other video, but to the point of recognizing that if your relationship ends and you feel like that is the end of your life, or if you feel so attached to this person that you feel like you cannot live, or you cannot survive, or you cannot cope, or you struggle to see the value of life without them, that also is an extreme, and that's something that you need to consider, and you need to get a lot of help for. Codependency can go across any relationship. So it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a family relationship, it could be a friendship. So if you shouldn't feel this extreme like emptiness because this person isn't in your life, and you shouldn't get all of your happiness and all of your joy from this person, and your mood should not be completely determined on how they are. If they're good, then I'm good, but I'm also always constantly worried about whether or not they're good. But then if they're bad, I feel bad, right? And I'm beating myself up, and I'm trying to fix them up. That is more of that codependency energy. So that's another one of the bigger issues that it just needs to be addressed, maybe a little heavier. It's not just a matter of like, oh, this is just an unhealthy habit. So that's number one. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones you really want to look out for. So number two is disagreements that escalate into large, disrespectful arguments, or lead to stonewalling, or the silent treatment for days on end, right? So oftentimes we have disagreements. That is a normal part of a relationship, is to have a disagreement. We all define disagreements very differently, which is okay. So we may, the way that I see disagreements and the way you see disagreements, because I'll have couples and be like, oh, do y'all argue? No, we never argue. And I'm like, okay. So that brings up a little bit of an antenna. And so then when we talk more, they're like, oh, well, we disagree, we just don't argue. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like I can work with that. But so it's healthy to have disagreements. You're two humans that are coming into each other's life. You've already had a whole life before this person, so that's normal. But if every time you disagree, one, the conversation y'all never get to any kind of solution, or not even solution per se, but it never feels like there's an end. It feels like there's always this, like, it escalates to a point where we're arguing about the way we talk to each other. We're arguing about the things we did 10 days ago, 10 weeks ago, whatever ago. And we never just feel like a disagreement is really getting us anywhere. Or if it escalates to a point of yelling and screaming and disrespect and, calling each other out of names, or just being dismissive and rude and mean and all of that, that is extremely important to recognize as being a part of an unhealthy relationship. Unfortunately, this is probably the most common thing I see, which is, it happens because we just don't know how to communicate, and we don't know what's coming up for us when we do communicate. But it also is important to understand that you can have a disagreement, you can have an argument without being disrespectful. You can have an argument and a disagreement without treating that person like you don't care for them in that moment. Because that's a lot of times what happens. Like, if you ask a couple how they feel about each other or how their partner feels about them when they are doing good, it's like, oh yeah, I know they love me, da 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 da. But in the middle of an argument, you would swear that they absolutely hated each other's guts, right? And so that's a problem. And then, like I said, the stonewalling piece of it. So stonewalling is when you completely stop talking to someone. So stonewalling is silent treatment, pretty similar. And so it's a matter of, I'm upset and I need you to feel that I'm upset. So I'm going to stop talking to you completely. And so that can go on for hours, days, weeks. That is very different than taking a break, right? You can take a break in a disagreement and say, hey, I need some time because I need to calm myself down. But a break should not last for 24 hours, right? Because even if it does, if it's a break from the conversation and that means you're not ready to have that conversation, you should still be able to have communication with your partner. You should still be able to talk to that partner. So that is really big, that you are able to just truly communicate in a way that even if you are upset and you need some time, that you let the person know, while the behavior doesn't feel as big or doesn't look as big, the impact is still the same. So number 3 is not feeling safe in the relationship. And the way that I determine safety is, can I speak about mistakes, concerns, fears without fear of judgment or feeling like you're being condescending or whatever the case may be? Can I talk about hopes and dreams and goals and things that I want for the future, feeling and feel safe and feel like someone's really listening to me? When someone is opening up and sharing their thoughts and their feelings and things like that, we need to be aware of how we were responding. Are we giving body language that's like, I don't want to hear this, you're full of it, I don't care? Are we communicating in a way that feels like whatever their thoughts are or feelings or beliefs or goals aren't important enough, and so you're talking to them like they're a kid that's just drawing and dreaming around what they want to do? Are you asking questions, and are you curious about their interest and what they want and how they want to get there and things like that, right? Or are you curious about when they say, hey, I messed up on this, and understanding why they made a mistake versus being like, you always make mistakes, this is just an issue, you should have did what I said, right? That's what I mean by safety. Because oftentimes we want to have relationships where both partners are communicative, where both partners are willing to open up and share and all of that, but we also don't create environments where that can happen. We often don't create environments where someone feels safe enough to like, okay, I can tell this person this and I don't have to worry about it coming back to bite me in the butt, right? I don't have to worry about them using it in an argument in the future. Or I don't have to worry about them interrupting me and telling me what I'm going to say, because they already know. They think they already know. So number 4 is probably one of the top ones that I see within my practice is, we've been together for a while and it just feels like we're roommates. We're just going through life. We pay the bills. We make sure the kids are okay. But we just are living life like this. Like, we're not interacting. We're not really having deep conversations. We're not really talking. We're not really hanging out. It's just that we're roommates. And so, again, very common. So when I say unhealthy, I want to clarify that I'm not saying that means you have to leave the relationship. I'm just saying recognizing that these are some unhealthy parts of relationships. And this is what makes relationships unhealthy. So it's very common to get to a space where you kind of feel like you're roommates. And a lot of times the way we define that is a lack of intimacy. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have sex, because I think that sometimes when people hear the word intimacy, they go straight to like, oh, so we're talking about sex. No, because there are plenty of relationships where sex isn't an option, like intercourse sex isn't an option, or there may be other things happening. So it's not about the sex. It's more about the intimacy. So intimacy is the connection that you feel. Intimacy can be through conversation. Intimacy can be through physical touch and cuddling and hugging and playfulness and things like that. Intimacy could be, we feel intimate because we laugh at the same things or we enjoy the same things. So it really is a matter of not truly having a lot of quality time together and not really enjoying each other in the relationship. Like, you're not having a lot of fun. You know how to get through the day to day. You know how to live life and make sure that things are taken care of and you're responsible adults. But you're not necessarily engaging with each other in a way that's enjoyable or that's connecting you in some type of a way. So that is a huge part of it, is this level of intimacy and this way of really interacting with each other outside of just making sure that things are done. and making sure everything is taken care of. So how do you enjoy each other? When do y'all have fun? When do y'all laugh? You know, and a lot of times the big thing is over the course of long-term relationships, we've had a lot of things that have happened. We have reasons why we don't necessarily want to hang out with this person as much anymore. And so we have to rebuild that friendship aspect of it. We have to rebuild we just really enjoy each other and like hanging out with each other. And we just really feel connected to this person that we're with. And some of that might be because of the stuff we talked about before, where we don't have the healthiest communication patterns, or it feels like we always are escalating. So that's a big one that you want to be mindful of. And again, doesn't mean the relationship is over. It just means it's something that needs to be addressed. And number 5 is you are only focusing on the negative parts of the relationship. It is really hard to find any benefits, to find any good parts of the relationship. If that is the case, then that probably means there's some unhealthiness going on, right? If we only spend our time saying, you need to do this better, you need to fix this, especially when it's pointed at someone else and it's not pointed at yourself, when you're not acknowledging how you contribute to the issues in the relationship, that is when we know it may be time to seek help. Although we often feel like we're motivated by knowing what needs to be better, it truly doesn't inspire any growth. It truly doesn't help people feel safe enough to take chances or safe enough to really try to work on different things. And so because of that, we have to learn how to also give positive. We have to learn how to also acknowledge that there's some good that comes in this relationship. There are benefits to having this person. And so it's important that you are able to see the good and the bad, even though our brains are wired to notice the bad. So that's something that I do want to acknowledge, is that we are biologically wired. We are mentally wired to notice the bad, because we need to know when we're in danger. We need to know when we're not safe. And so we are often looking for signals to signify whether or not we are in danger or unsafe. And so because of that, we do the same thing in our personal relationships. Now it's not like an animal coming and chasing after us. Is this person, do they truly love me? Are they going to be mean to me? Do they disrespect me? Whatever the case may be. Do I not feel safe, or do I not feel protected? Whatever the case may be, we are wired to look for those, and we're not wired to find the positive. So you have to put a lot of effort into really seeking the positive. So I'm going to end there because this has gotten very long, and I feel like I kind of put the positives in between it, but I'll do a separate video with the green flags with the healthy relationship, just because I don't want this to be an hour-long video. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, comment, like, share some of your red flags or the things that you consider to be an unhealthy relationship in the comments, and I hope to see you guys next time. That's all. Bye.